I got the chance to check out Gears 5 at length before release, and I spent a lot of time with the various weapons in the game throughout a big chunk of the campaign, and the Horde mode multiplayer. There will be a lot of familiar guns and heavy weapons for fans of the series that know a thing or two about chainsawing swarm beasts in half, but Gears 5 has taken the opportunity to integrate newer weapons that will feel right at home alongside your trusty Lancer. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the new weapons that you'll find in Gears 5. Let's start with the Claw. This weapon has an incredibly inaccurate opening trigger burst, but will rapidly grow more accurate and deadlier as the gun continues to fire. There is a limit to how long you can hold down the trigger before the gun will actually slow its firing rate, and if you hold it too long, the Claw will begin to misfire. It's worth noting though that there's a risk-reward approach involved with the Claw, since the gun's base power is extremely strong, and it has a massive magazine to help negate these drawbacks. The other interesting thing about the Claw is it seems to be a Locust-made gun rather than one from the COG. There are these deadly crystals on the bottom of the weapon that can be used for some blunt force trauma during execution animations. There's also a Talon auto pistol. It's the inverse of the Boltok in that it's got a massive amount of bullets and can empty a clip in absolutely no time at all. The gun stays fairly accurate without any egregious recoil despite the sheer volume of lead coming out of the barrel, and just from my personal playstyle, it was a good safety net when I would be in tight battles and my primary weapons would be running low on ammo. Now, Gears has already boasted a wide lineup of weapons, and they all make a return with franchise staples like the Gnasher shotgun, M-bar, Longshot, Torque bow, Hammer burst, and so many more original Gears weapons that should fit right at home in the hands of any Gears of War veteran. Now, that's not to say there aren't some new flavors implemented within the older weapons. So take the original Lancer. This fan favorite has seen various changes throughout the franchise, like the Retro Lancer, and now we've got a third addition to the mix in Gears 5, the Lancer Grenade Launcher. This variation feels like how a Lancer should feel, but the player can actually tilt this gun at a 45-degree angle, suddenly aiming a laser sight. Pulling the trigger with the laser sight will activate a grenade being launched with a fairly high arc and overall trajectory, kind of like a mortar. An impressive explosion occurs, and presuming you aimed correctly, the enemy will be nothing but a heap of blown up limbs. Guns are the bread and butter of Gears combat, but there are some fun heavy weaponry that can range from mounted turrets to absolute cannons. And the Cryo Cannon in particular is interesting in that it doesn't even shoot bullets, but a freezing mist that will turn targets into frozen sculptures that can be easily broken with just a kick. It's a fun weapon that can lead to hectic scenarios, but there should be a warning. It takes a while to properly freeze an enemy, and in my playtime, there are instances where I was a little overconfident and too close to my target, which resulted in me being punished, or at the very least, sweating out a few grapple animations before being saved by a teammate. Breaker Mace is a heavy melee weapon that can only drop from a very specific enemy type. The Warden is a mini-boss of sorts that will always drop a Breaker Mace, and the result is a punishing mace that can swipe at enemies for damage or can absolutely maul an entire horde by slamming the mace down with a serious AoE effect. You can't use the mace forever, as all heavy weapons will eventually either run out of ammo or they'll lose their durability. There's definitely a lot to keep you busy, and with all the exploration in the game, high-octane set pieces, surprises in the campaign, and the new multiplayer modes, you'll be spending a lot of time with the weapons in the game. Stay tuned to GameSpot as we continue to break down more of what makes the combat so different from its predecessors, and other things that the Coalition may not have told you yet about Gears 5. Thanks for watching.